Welcome back to the Motus podcast. Wait.
That was straight in.
Okay, wait, in all seriousness, we've literally in the last few minutes had the email through from Apple stating that the Motus podcast, which was a temporary name but that now is potentially permanent, has been approved, and the podcast is on iTunes. We've literally seconds ago it's just gone on. So thank you to everyone who listened last week, because there are none of you, because it, as we said, it's just gone on. Exciting news. I'm not sure how we feel about the podcast.
I think it's all right. I quite like it. I don't think anyone else has got it.
We might be able to change it. I don't actually know. I kind of penciled it in and then set the whole thing moving, and I'm slightly worried it's now locked in. What I'm saying is I'm still down for suggestions.
If anyone's got anything better.
And artwork is, if anyone goes and looks at the artwork, it's mediocre, to say the sort of.
I think the artwork makes it. To be honest, it makes it seem better.
I mean, maybe that's the vibe we're running on. All right. I mean, we're basically going to go straight in on this, I think, really, because we teased. I think we didn't even tease. We
touched on it.
We touched on it. We kind of slightly started doing it last time and then had to pull back. This is the big one. This is an unfiltered hour of ranting about the state of parkour on Instagram. Keelan, over to you.
Oh, for God's sake.
Actually, I mean,
I feel like anyone who's watching this has already tuned into the right source of social media through parkour.
It's a podcast, Keelan. Nobody can watch this.
No, but tuned in, I mean. Like, I don't think people who are enjoying, for example, Kyria's stuff, and I don't want to say Alex Shower
stuff. We're going to just put names out there.
They're not going to be the ones to also listen to the podcast.
And does that mean that you can go even harder on them, or what are you saying?
I don't know. Like, I don't want to.
I don't think this is even a place for just essentially pointing fingers at certain individuals. I think it's more of a status of the...
I mean, I don't care what people think about me, but I care that Instagram...
What people think about you.
Yeah. I care about our sport being portrayed in a very, very silly way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just to kind of... I think there's a lot of this chat going on in our community at the moment. I've seen stuff on Instagram of people saying like parkour's dead, parkour's changed, and I'm in the process of writing a blog about this at the moment, because parkour is not Instagram, and I think so many people are basing their opinions of parkour off of the content they see on Instagram.
Yeah, fully.
Which, I mean, that's the same way that I could look at somebody's life and think, wow, that's their life. Like, ooh, and actually it's just this glossy version of their life, and it isn't. And it's the same with parkour. Like, until the feeling of you going out with your mates and training changes, then I don't think parkour has changed. Yes, granted, there will always be that guy who's like, hey, can you film this for my Instagram? And maybe that will take fucking half an hour and things. So maybe it has changed a little bit. But
I'm just not a fan of Instagram, even for maybe the good. Do you know what I mean? As in, if it wasn't, just like everyone has to admit, if Instagram wasn't about, I feel like there'd be so much more progressive content. I don't know if that's the right word to... Do you know what I mean? If Instagram wasn't a thing, even though there's sick training on there anyway...
Well, that's the thing, yeah, because...
Like, that would all be saved if there was nowhere to immediately upload your clips. Because if people are sitting on clips... It's so hard not to just be like, I could whack it on Instagram and that's an easy, like, 20,000 views, and then it never gets seen again.
Well, it's the quick gratification that people want off of, like, oh, I've got some likes or I've got views. I mean, Keelan.
Yeah, I've done it. I've done the vlogs. I've done the Instagram.
Keelan's someone who blew up on Reddit, front page of Reddit, and you got like 40,000 new followers on Instagram very, very quickly. Like, I mean, you blew up.
It's hard when something like that happens. It's very hard to like turn around and be like, I don't care about Instagram. Like, when that happens, you're like, oh.
And when the work starts coming in, and you get Superdry saying, here's a couple of grand, do an advert, you're like, oh shit, I need to work on my Instagram. And there's me going, Keelan, you don't need to stress, and you're like, no, this is my career. So I totally get why people want to graft on it.
Well, yeah, of course, because same thing, name dropping, but
Oh,
like
this-
Kyria
this-
and Alex, like
Yeah.
they probably got maybe even a lot more, especially Kyria. Like if you have a look at his Instagram right now, he's surely getting so many paid promotional sort of content stuff. He's probably balling, like, but I just, yeah.
I
If
I
that's
think
the
there's
stuff
there's a
that's-
lot of different levels to this thing. It's very easy to say like, oh, Instagram shit. Like Instagram is an incredibly useful, and it's a tool that is not going to go away anytime soon. And I think used right, it is a huge asset to yourself as a brand, as a athlete, as anything. It is. Oh, there's so many levels. Like, yeah, there's the
Yeah.
rinsing it, being basic as fuck, and I mean. The thing, I was with Alex, a month ago. He's one of the most talented athletes in the world still. Blows me away. And most of what he puts on Instagram is him falling downstairs. And I love him. If you are listening to this, Alex, I have so much respect for you. But my biggest issue with a lot of the stuff that people like that are putting on Instagram, and Pasha pulled himself back from this. There was this period where everyone was shitting on Pasha because he was doing some sort of not lame stuff, but stuff that was a bit too like
It was just really, really different.
it was
that's
very
what
different,
was just
but
really,
and then
really
he
different.
he pulled it back a little bit and he focused more. He improved the physicality of it, and then he started fucking blowing up because he was doing like weird shit, but he was almost killing himself in the like he was skimming his head on the edge of walls.
He was still doing very, very.
The
very
physicality
risky
was
things.
high.
Yeah,
It wasn't like he was putting on body armor and falling downstairs, or it wasn't like he was getting his girlfriend to do a fucking backflip or whatever.
while
like,
kissing them or something.
yeah. The physicality and the impressive, it was genuine stunts. And
Mm.
that's where Pasha then suddenly started blowing up. And my biggest issue, if we're going to look at this aspect of Instagram, is if you are, I don't particularly like the term muggle, but it's stuck so much. If you are a muggle and you go onto Instagram and you are scrolling through your beauty and your Kim Kardashians and you see Alex Shower falling down the stairs, and the only thing in your head that you can associate that with is parkour,
Yeah.
you that hits you and it goes a little bit into your subconscious or whatever, and you're like, oh, is that what parkour is? Like skateboarding, to me, I've never skated properly. I've never even been a huge consumer of skateboard culture. I mean, to a degree,
Yeah.
because I think it's so big now that you can't. Like, I love skate documentaries and stuff, but skateboarding is repetitive attempts at hard tricks, bails, success, glory, bit of like sort of, I don't know, craziness.
Yeah, but I feel like they've almost as well, they've kind of nailed it in the fact of like how they use Instagram, but still, like, they're not perfect. They still have the same issue with us. There's
like if
kids
basically
posting really shit skate videos, close-up angles, wearing really nice clothes with, yeah. There's like that sort of epidemic.
But that's
of it.
more of like oh, I do a sport because it's
'Cause
mainstream.
yeah. So that's their problem.
It's a posing thing.
Yeah, but
My-
it's
my-
not as bad as what I'm saying. That's not as bad as someone like being very sort of. It's not even childish.
My problem is if someone watches Kyria or Alex Shower's videos or someone like this, and I feel like even these two guys have maybe died down slightly recently, so it's maybe we're maybe a bit late to the party
But
here.
there is a lot more people, but you just can't name.
If somebody watches that style of video and then makes a connection between that and parkour, then fuck you.
I know, yeah.
Because it's like parkour is so much more deserving than that.
But also, it's going to put people off at the same time. And I don't mean put people off. I'm not caring like if it's cool or not. I mean, if someone wants to try parkour, if someone like if you think about it on that level,
Well, you know what's
they're going
fucking.
to be like, I don't want to do that.
I mean, so just to rewind slightly, we have just finished watching Jesse LaFleur. We spoke about it in the last podcast. Man of much hate, but I mean, we backed him up on the last podcast, and I continue to do
He's
so.
a sick guy.
In the last week, he sent me a rough cut of his new film that's coming out, Bound by Movement. And I mean, he's barely publicized this yet. He hasn't released a trailer or anything, so I don't know when this podcast is going live in relation to that. But I watched it and I fucking loved it. I was meant to have been one of the main guys filming it. This was all shot last year. This was during his Lace Up tour. I, due to Motus commitments and many other things, turned it down. And in some ways hugely regret doing so, other ways not so much because I've got a lot going on.
But then you guys wouldn't have got Spitting in the Wind. You got like there's a lot of things that
exactly
Motus related shit wouldn't have happened.
It's got to the stage now where Motus has to be my full thing of attention. So I've he showed me the trailer to this when we were at Airwhip, and it looked amazing. He sent me the film last week, and I actually just sat down and watched it again with Keelan, which I don't know if Jesse would appreciate that, but I kind of needed to show someone else, and it was the most refreshing thing.
It is so good.
It's such
Everything
a
about
good
it.
watch. And the thing is Jesse gets so much fucking hate because people call him out on doing lame shit because he has a slightly quirky style with regards to his movement. Like, he does the occasional kind of shin or foot-based stuff.
Yeah, but also...
But he comes from a hugely influenced background of rollerblading.
Oh, yeah.
And
he
still...
shreds so hard. There's some clips in the movie that is insane to anyone who's probably a pro at blading. Like, it's ridiculous.
And it's still... impressive movement. It's still physicality. It's still a guy doing a fucking running 180 pre to a back full off a rail or something, which, yes, Jesse is tall, skinny, lanky, whatever you want to call him. His style might not be to everyone's taste, but it's still impressive physicality, whereas doing some lame shit with your girlfriend to try and beg Instagram views is just fucking weak.
Yeah.
And Kiri is terrifying. I mean, this guy's massive. He'd kill me if he needs to. So I'm probably...
And he's way younger than you as well. He's probably close to my age, I swear. He's not very old.
Young. And I'm a fat fuck. I can't say fuck. Like, I can't do any of this shit. My problem is this sport in the long run, we need to be putting so much focus.
There we go. That's what I'm
We need to be putting focus on the physicality.
Yeah, and I want the future of parkour to be like so long form content like that, like Jesse has done, but also anywhere a muggle can sort of look up parkour or come, just randomly sees it on the internet. I want them to think, oh, that's pretty cool, and like it's a weird thing to ask, but I just want them to not get turned off by it.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And I don't want it to die, because there is a lot of sports like Jesse used to do blading. The amount of times I've seen
blading got killed by skateboarding, didn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But
they hated on blading because it was considered lame, and the problem is if you move in this direction of like doing whatever the latest trend is for Instagram likes, you become a trend. You don't become like, that's the thing. People years ago were like, oh, parkour's a trend, and parkour didn't die out. It fucking almost did, but like it never died out.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, I always thought that was a trend. It's like, no, fucking it's stronger than ever. If you try and just sit on trends, whether it be clickbait, whether it be Instagram and things, you become a trend. Like, we are so much, as a sport, we are so much better and we're so much wider and more solidified than that people need to stop playing to these things so much. Do it a little bit, of course. Like,
and also like you've already touched on, but physicality does get lost so much. I feel like people appreciate. I don't know who's appreciating it, but Kyria, I guess he's doing some of the stuff is like kind of hard. Like, he does backflips on like really tiny things.
Yeah.
But like, no one's going to notice the physicality of like incredible athletes that have like hardly any followers.
Well, I think when it's not that people don't notice it, but it's when you build, let's say, 90% of your audience based off of stuff that is so far removed from the physicality. Like, there are some people in this world who simply, I mean, we all know them as parkour athletes. It's the do a backflip guys, and you do a gain of full, and they're like, yeah, but can you do a backflip?
Yeah,
those people, if they cannot comprehend the difficulty level, it's like, well, it's that if you've worked your Instagram game so hard to cater to the like, oh, I did do a backflip, then when you do something impressive, they're not going to give a fuck. And
I know,
therefore
it's the sellout sort of, you can kind of call that sort of the sellout phase. I'd say.
And is it even selling out? Because it's not like people, I mean, if you are getting paid for it, it's such a tricky thing, because as I said, Instagram is so required for a career. Like, if you're not on Instagram, you're a dead brand, you're a dead person. So I 100% recommend, like, people are like, oh, I might just not do any Instagram for a while. It's like, maybe don't base your life off of it. Don't look at other people and judge their lives as real. Don't try and project your life as real. Like, put your fucking real self on Instagram. If I saw Kyria, like, I don't know, just living a normal life and fucking around with his girlfriend and it seemed really natural, I would have 1 billion times more respect for him than like, oh, let's try this angle with my girlfriend. Oh, I don't know, I can't even.
He had a video of him not even doing parkour and getting out of a car and just slapping her ass. I don't know if you saw that.
He did indeed. I think he did a wall spin off the car, so I mean, there you go. Shit like that is just like, what the fuck are you doing? But anyway, I don't want to shit on like specifically Kyria too much. I think Instagram, there's a whole wide, because also, I mean, today, Joe Scandrett just put on one of the most gnarly descents ever done in parkour on Instagram. I mean, I don't know, 12 stories or something.
That it is. So that's actually on Instagram now.
He put it on Instagram. Yeah, I sent it to you last night. Yeah.
That it is ridiculous. Honestly, the most terrifying descent I've ever watched.
I mean, and the physicality is insane. And I think that stuff in this day and age of fast media does need to go out fast.
Because someone could easily... This is the problem nowadays, because everyone's doing it. Someone could come out with something bigger and better in the descent. I mean, it's not a competition, but I'm saying he's not going to get as much credibility if he was to save that.
I mean, that's the fucking... the weird thing about life now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like...
It's all fast-paced.
It's everything's so fast-paced, and it is... I mean...
Also, even YouTube, you get vloggers, they do daily stuff, because it's just... It's not enough to...
And I mean, another thought about physicality is, like, there was that... Technically, the guy who did double backflip on flat, there was somebody else who kind of did it on flat, and it was fairly legit, but it wasn't quite like... It wasn't, like, clean grass like that. And I think he put it on Instagram, but it didn't quite blow up enough. And then that guy...
on the dusty sort of...
yeah, I think so. And that guy obviously put that one on. George McGowan has been... during that period, he was prepping double backflip on flat for a long time, and he was sending me clips, and he never committed. So I can't say, "Oh, George did it." I'm 100% certain at that period when George was really going for it, he could have made it happen. Are
you saying that because he saw it, he stopped trying, or
no? I don't think he stopped trying, but I think it's weird because I think for some people that would be like the oh shit, it's possible now. But I think we've all known it's possible, but it's the now that. He blew up overnight, that guy who did it. I can't remember his name. And if you're the second guy to do it, this like quick media world it's just less impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this guy did this amazing thing. Oh, you did it second? That's cool, but like whatever.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it is fair enough because it's breaking that first mental barrier is the biggest thing.
I know. I'm lost for words to try and describe how, like, I know we're talking about all these sick things that come on Instagram, as well as, like, Joe Scandrett's descent. And I can't think of a way to back up fully, but I just wish that if everyone did it at the same time and that was saved for, I don't know, who is he? I mean, Joe's just a single person, isn't he? Is he part of Free Run still, or what?
I think he's an ambassador.
Ambassador, okay, it doesn't mean anything. Probably not. But, like, I don't know, people like Storm, I've spoken to Hendo about, like, they're actually saving up clips and things to do more cinematic shit. But what I'm saying is I just want it to go in long form, or not even long form, or just on YouTube where it sticks.
Well, so
that's going to get lost. I probably won't remember Scandrett's descent.
Well, and also there's the different styles of content. I mean, this is not just an argument aimed at Instagram, really. It's the content. It's the way we're putting out content at the moment. So the way I see it, you have Instagram. You cannot get rid of Instagram. If you want to succeed as an athlete, you need to adapt to Instagram.
For sure.
Joe's descent, that should go on Instagram. Yes, right now, put it on because it's massive. It's game changing. Whack it on there. What I want to see in a week or 2 weeks' time is a behind the scenes. And I've already been in talks with the man.
Yeah.
And I want to do things. I mean, we've obviously shot behind the jump style stuff. Like, I want to see a 10-minute, 20-minute long documentary style piece made about the mental process behind that. Because in the description, he says, I tried the bottom bit 25 times, didn't want to take the last drop because it's going to hurt my feet too much. There's so much story there that Instagram cannot convey. And the thing you don't get on Instagram, unless you're one of these, like, Instagram live people and also an Instagram story, kind of one of those people who post like 40 Instagram stories a day, you can't build the personal connection.
No, for sure.
You show off your clip or you show off your photo that makes your life look better. But the problem is people are not idiots. You get the naive who look at that and they go, oh my God, their life is so good, or they're so naturally talented or whatever. Most of us are like, well, their life clearly isn't that good and clearly they put a lot of practice in. And it's like, well, if they're putting the fucking practice in, I want to see that. Because if I can see the practice ladder or the progression ladder, then I can see how I can do that too.
Yeah, it would
be inspiring. And that is where people are slipping on YouTube. People are going out filming one bang clips and then they're not filming any of the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I agree, we should be holding clips back, keeping it secret. Like, we did that I don't know. I mean, Resurgence is like, I mean, it's 2 years old now, so I don't want to
No.
flog a dead horse. But we held, I mean, Luke doubled IMAX and we kept our lips sealed for months. Like, all this shit happened where we just did not talk about it and we kept it so secret. And then when that thing,
fucking love though.
when that thing dropped, people were like, holy fucking shit. Like, what? Like, Max side flipping.
Yeah.
Max did that in February and that video came out in late March. So for January, February, March. Yeah, okay, I'm shit with my months. Like a month and a half, we did not say a word, even though Max had just like leveled up. And now 2 years later, everyone's side flipping to rails. But it's that kind of shit that we need more of because.
But it's not.
Even, I mean,
you've made. So we made Resurgence, right? Yeah, the Max side flip rail pre. Then you made a behind the jump with the Max side flip rail pre.
Yep.
There was also a behind the scenes of the whole thing.
Yep.
And then you get your Instagram content. It's always good. You can still go on Instagram. And obviously, it's not going to build up like massive hype because you've already seen it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But there's so many people who are just fixated on Instagram.
Well, I think the thing
on
is,
the shorts thing that they're going to see it first time there.
Yeah.
And then
well, I think Brody and Dylan Pawson can go and jump and slide down some railings, and Hypebeast shares them.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened, and now they've done it a couple of times. So therefore, if somebody does something massive, like they do a fucking side fall to a rail, they want to put that. They don't want to save that. Like, because when you save a video and you put it on YouTube and you've got, a few thousand subscribers, when you release that thing, it's going to blow up. It's going to get shared around the community, so you might gain a few more thousand subscribers. But YouTube is not the place where someone like Hypebeast is going to pick you up and share you.
No.
But someone like is that the people you really care about? Like,
exactly,
how much work, how much audience in the long term are you going to get from whacking that thing on Instagram straight away and getting the kind of the muggle hype? It's like, oh mate, you did a backflip pre to that rail. It's like, oh no, actually I did a side flip full. But
it's almost going on to audiences, and I know that there's one team in the game that are killing it, but also audience wise, you know what I'm on about, don't you?
Are you asking me or
well, just
or our
you,
huge podcast audience?
Well, I just don't want to bring it up because I know that if they can train and get paid for it and not care about it, and if they really just love parkour, then good for them because they've sorted everything out. But Stora, I feel like their audience, although it has got a lot of free runners as well, like I still watch their videos now and then, but obviously most of their audience is just going to be kids and people who most of the time maybe just passing by. Do you know what I mean? Passing by on YouTube and it's like, oh, this looks cool. Like,
so the thing I found from...
Well, I'm not shitting on them. I'm just saying because they're all really
Well, this is the
ridiculous.
thing.
Really
is it's one of these undeniable things where Stora have done sort of a gargantuan amount for the sport and the community. They've brought a whole new audience. And even if fucking like 10, even if 1% of this new kid audience that they have captured ends up doing parkour in the next 5 years, then that's massive.
Yeah, it's fucking
sick. It's massive. So you can't... It's a hard one because I think... You know how you meet people and they're like, oh, Jump Britain was the thing that got me into parkour. And then you meet a lot of people and they're like, oh, Oleg, Russian Climber was the video.
Sen, Star can be there.
And in 5 years' time, we might have that. You might be in a gym somewhere and you meet a kid. So it's...
I mean, they're the best people for it to happen to because that's not the right word. Because I agree with how they train and I agree with how they show parkour. Like in their videos, it isn't bullshit. Do you know what I mean? It's a days of training.
Yeah.
So that for people to watch it, you can't be. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's not only kids. I'm just saying a lot of their audience. Like when I was training in Maidstone, I was saying there was these chavvies and they're like, oh yeah, Stora, and stuff like that.
Yeah, for the most part, you cannot deny their physicality. You cannot deny the realness and of sort of what their content puts out. And it's a hard one because I think it's very quick to look at it from an outside perspective and kind of shit on it for being like, oh, clickbait or whatever. And as I said in the last podcast, I've tried a bit of clickbait and it just doesn't sit well with me. But at the same time, it's playing the game. It's trying to get the balance.
Yeah, but also it's just trying stuff new, isn't it?
It is kind of, I don't know, sometimes I don't watch a huge amount of their videos anymore because generally, like, unless I think for me, there's got to be a level of physicality. Like, I don't know. Some of their stuff, like, I'm not that like, oh, this is going to be fun to watch. Like, they're probably just doing some.
Well, they still have
somewhere.
they still have some good training in there, but it's never remembered
One, I think also because we know them personally, and I mean, I see some of them quite
yeah.
often. There's less of a desire to say experience their personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, there's kids who will be massive fans and they just want to see more of Callum being Callum. Whereas it's
Yeah.
like, well, if I want to see more of Callum being Callum,
Just go and hang out
he'll
with
probably
Callum.
be at the gym soon, and I can go hang out.
Yeah, true.
Um,
But there is some videos that will be remembered, and I never doubted that it was a good video. I just didn't really speak about it because I felt like it was a bit of a clickbaity thing. But when they jumped the LA River, I still feel like that's kind of cool because there's so many skaters who have like ollied it, someone kickflipped it, someone grinded across the LA River, and at least they're like now free runners have jumped it. And when you see the whole video, it's like a behind the scenes kind of thing. It did actually look really ridiculously hard.
yeah.
So that was kind of cool, even though it does sound like, the title's We Jumped the LA River. It's true, like they did, and that's might not be a side flip pre to the rail, but it's also a step in being like, maybe skaters that will be like, oh, actually, like they're not just kids who jump on walls. And
Yeah, because it's that kind of cross sport.
well, yeah, it's
collaborate.
Like, it is
Yeah,
a serious sport. Like, take it seriously.
I think for me, the few things that really irk me the most are when I see stuff. They put a video up a couple of last week, I think, which initially the title was, I think it was.
What did they change it?
They changed it. I think I could be wrong. I think the initial thing was like it was fuck. I think I might have screenshotted it because I don't want to quote the wrong thing and make it sound way worse than it was.
Yeah.
Hold up.
What was it about?
Hold up. I'm gonna dig it up. It was the Athens refugees one, and there was this initial first time. Here we go. I got it. So it is what I thought.
Yeah.
Can refugee kids do parkour? And shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is a sport that does not require special equipment. This is a sport that does not require anything. And you are making a question, and this is purely controversial clickbait. Like, this is. You are saying, can kids who don't have money and a home do a sport that requires none of those two things and simply requires having some level of physical ability? And also, it's not like, and then after a couple of hours, it changed to teaching refugee kids parkour. Because I mean, there's 8 people in parkour, 8 people in Stora, and I'm assuming
some of them were like,
someone
no, change
was
it.
like,
yeah.
But it's stuff like that. I don't know who wrote that title, but Jesus fucking Christ, guys, like. It's I mean, I don't know. The stuff like that is that just a desperate bid for views?
Well, yeah, because they've got to this point now where, what are they, nearly on 5 million subscribers or something? I'm not sure.
No, I think they're only approaching 4.
Oh, they're 3.8 or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So like they're approaching that landmark. Don't know what it's.
I mean, it's massive.
Yeah, well,
undeniably fucking huge.
Yeah, exactly. But they don't want.
We've got 27,000.
Yeah, but they're fucking cool free runners. But they don't want to drop off. Like, it could easily get boring for people who don't do parkour. I mean, for people who do parkour and don't do parkour. Do you know what I mean? They're gonna have to really put in work. Like that title, obviously.
I think it's one of these things where
because they're not their night shift video, for example. But then that wasn't to do with the title, I guess, or maybe it was.
But that didn't do that well, and then it got removed for a bit because of music, I think.
But
that was a sick video, and then it gets like a couple 100,000 views compared to like 1 million if you're like, teaching a disabled dog how to do parkour or something, and you're like,
I know exactly. So they gotta play it that way, I guess, because.
But do they have to? I don't know.
No, they don't have to, but.
This is the really kind of, it's the weird thing that I don't think really anyone on can properly make a
bold statement.
Well, I mean, I think you can only, it's one of these things hindsight will tell.
Mm-hmm.
In a few years' time, when every single kid you encounter is like, I got into parkour because of Story, you're like, fucking fair play, boys.
Yeah.
It's right now, it's like, and I'm not even one of these people who's like, I want to see the old chaps on tour. Like, I want to see you in front of a sunset with your arms in the air, because I fucking hate that pose. When now, like, people in 2019 and Joel Eggyman's standing in front of the sunset going with fake audio going woohoo, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't need to hear that. But sorry, Joel, I love you, but that thing has been overplayed. But it's. I don't know. I think it's achieving a balance.
But if they've hit the point where they're pretty much living the dream, and for me, living the dream would be, like, unrealistically, money is completely sorted, and all you have to worry about is getting out every day and just training. Like, That's pretty much how.
And
I know they put in a lot more work than just that.
Oh,
Do
and
you
they
know
put
what I mean?
out an insane amount of work.
Yeah.
This is the problem. Is every
But they can just train and
every
they get
team
paid
and
for
every
it.
brand in this sport essentially thinks that by having fun and doing fuck all, they can become Stora, but actually they don't realize that Stora grafted their fucking ass off.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For me, my living the dream for me, and maybe this is more of a personal thing, is
But realistically, is the thinking.
well, realistically, yes, I would like not to have to worry about paying rent. I would like not to have to worry about sort of
Exactly.
money and things, which, yes, you get to a level where you've got, let's say, YouTube revenue coming in or clothing revenue or your Instagram revenue from doing your basic Instagram stuff, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be turning that audience into fucking genuine parkour fans who have a genuine idea of what parkour is. I don't want to be selling them a false, not dream, but I don't want to be selling them not the real thing. I want to show the community, I want to show the growth of that community and the growth of the industry within that. So when like Callum came out to NAPC and he's showing, and that video, I think he did 2 videos, they didn't do crazy well because they're never going to.
I rewatched that video recently, the NAPC one.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it though, because you got to see all the athletes.
But so
prepping,
this is the thing
training.
for me when it comes to, so we've switched slightly from Instagram to YouTube content now. For me, I will probably never in my life go back and watch half of the vlogs that Stora or anyone else has put out.
Yeah.
Vlogs where it's just like, oh, we did this and we climbed up this and then some police came and then we ran away and things like this. I will watch many, many, many times anything that shows the process behind the physicality or a documentary aspect, because when you make something that has a documentary aspect, they are timestamped. Callum filming NAPC or myself filming NAPC or someone filming a competition or an event or a physical feat is timestamped, and you can go back and you can say, holy shit, the first descent happened when this guy did this.
Yeah.
Now 10 years on, people are doing double backflip descents. Like, obviously that's never going to happen.
No,
but
yeah,
you
I get
timestamp
it.
something when you make content that has context and relevance. When you make a vlog, yes, in 10 years time we could go back and watch some of Stora's vlogs and go, wow, some of them didn't even have beard hair at that stage and look how young they look, and I didn't know Sasha was going to get into sort of selling heroin or something like this. Like, they will timestamp stuff in that regard, and you could say, wow, look at these guys, they're slumming it and maybe they're earning millions now, and it'll be like, that's fucking great. But with regards to the sport, the content that is going to be evergreen, i.e. stuff that goes on forever and ever and ever, is the stuff that is either based on the physical or based on the sort of the documentary side of things. And that's for me, I'm just like, fuck, I want to see more of that. And it might not be the most entertaining watch right now. Watching it, I mean,
yeah, it won't blow up because there's not enough of it on the internet. If there's just one supplier, it's not going to happen, you know? You need everyone to start.
we shot, well, I shot with the help of kind of people who were there, a documentary piece about For the Love of Movement, which is, last draft I saw is 17 minutes long. And I think it's sort of decently entertaining to watch right now. And I think it'll be decently entertaining to watch in a year's time. And I think it'll be in 10 years' time when For the Love of Movement is happening 5 times a year across different countries, across Europe. I think it'll be really interesting to go back and watch that and see how those guys have grown. And that's why I want to be producing more content like that.
Yeah. No, it's stuff that I would have watched when I first got into parkour. It wouldn't be like a vlog or anything. It would be, you know, something that's... I'd watch, I don't know, for example, when Airwhip first opened their gym.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally... I watched that video so many times, maybe in school, because
the flow goes out.
Because I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is like an insane gym. Because I saw Tempest.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, now there's another gym. It's literally like, as a child as well.
You could see the growth.
And I only care about parkour. I don't care about what anyone else thinks. Like I get that's sort of the audience you're sort of looking for, if you know what I mean. Like, I guess I was a kid, but I cared about the physicality. I cared about like what was happening in the sport.
Yep.
You know?
And I think just to bring it back to Instagram, a huge issue with Instagram and even some of the physical feats, like, let's say someone does the first ever, fuck knows, like Souk 720.
Yeah.
like Sukahara, Ed's done Sukaful, like Suk 720 or something like that, and they whack that on Instagram and it gets 100,000 views. To go back and easily find that on Instagram when people sometimes are posting twice a day or once a week,
difficult.
there's no timeline. To go onto YouTube and think, okay, I think this happened, or you can search it. Like, you can't search by clip name on Instagram.
No.
So as much as, yes, your footage on Instagram won't necessarily get deleted, you can hunt for it if you really need to. Everyone who's owned Instagram knows how fucking hard it is to go back and find a clip based on a shitty thumbnail.
But also, I doubt if they were going to upload that to YouTube, it would just be the singular clip. That's the thing.
And I'm not saying, yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying upload
YouTube.
I'm just saying, like, I want to be able to, if something groundbreaking happens, I want whoever is filming that to also feel free to whack it on Instagram, but also to produce content that I can go back in 5 years' time and go onto YouTube and search Suk 720 and find that clip instantly. Because that is how you spread, I don't know, like, it's how you spread a sport. It's how in conversation you can be like, oh shit, have you seen this? Boom, there it is.
Exactly.
And the problem with Instagram is when you are the content creator, all you're looking for, and I fucking do it, because when I train, people go mad for some reason because I don't train that often and I'm an old fat man. But like, if I put a training clip on and I can get, I don't know, 30 comments in an evening, and I will quite often sit there and I'll kind of, I don't know, I'll go home and I'll upload it and I'll sort of over the next few hours just occasionally check Instagram and I, do the old swipe down, sort of, oh.
Yeah, it feels good.
4 new comments. And I've got people like, I don't know, Dom going like, oh, Charles, I love you. And I'm like, look, big boy with his hundreds of thousands, like, you're not getting that, you fucking 14-year-old in Holland or something. Like, I mean, I don't actually think that, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's
quick gratification.
It's very quick gratification. You can get that kind of, it's the dopamine, I think. It's the I think that's the one.
But also, like, I'm thinking about maybe mental health as well. Well, not necessarily.
Here we go.
But because you've spoken to me about it and you've showed me statistics and things. But even before you showed me that, I was thinking, right, well, if most of the content I like to watch wasn't on Instagram, when I was out training, when I was out socializing, or maybe at home doing something, why would I check my phone for like a YouTube video?
Yeah.
Why would I go for a whole YouTube video? On Instagram, I could literally be like, I'm talking to a person, okay, there's a short break, I'm going to go on Instagram just quickly for 5 seconds, and then you're literally just stuck on your phone. I think that mentally does something to people.
Well, I think that does.
When I had my phone, when my phone was broken, I noticed it, and that sounds so bad.
You mean when your phone wasn't broken? Because it's broken all the fucking time.
Yeah, it's broken. When I didn't have a phone, obviously I couldn't swipe for Instagram because I admit I'm very addicted to swiping for Instagram anyway. You can notice the difference, like when you're socializing with people as well, you don't have anything to sort of like.
Yeah. Now, if you watch people like, and you try and have and I'm just as bad as anyone else. You're having a conversation, and I will pick up my phone and look at it while talking to someone.
Yeah.
And apparently, there's loads of psychological shit here that like only in literally the last few years, because until this point, I don't know, you could be out talking to someone and they might pick up a twig in the woods.
Yeah.
But like, the twig's not giving you much. But when you subconsciously see someone pick up their phone and you are
You're
being
like, they're not
and
interested.
I'm like, Keelan, I've had a big fight with my girlfriend. I'm really sad. And
then
Keelan picks up his phone.
Pick up my phone right now, and then I'm like, yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, he's not listening to me. I was in a car once with Tim Sheaf, and he was telling me, I don't know, fuck it, this is the podcast. I think this is when he was going out with Ellie Goulding.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was going through a bit of a rough patch. And I remember him talking to me about this, and I picked up my phone, and he literally stopped his sentence, and he went, can you put your phone down? And I was like, and he was like, I can't talk to you about this if you're sitting on your phone. And I felt like a fucking idiot because suddenly I was like, holy shit, like that's completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, if that happened to me, I probably would have felt a bit awkward and be like, okay, Tim, like fair enough.
Well, you want to. The thing is, you want to feel like a dick, but actually, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Completely genuine.
Yeah, no,
like,
it is. It's very, very true.
It
takes the right person to actually like say that.
Well, fucking fair play to Tim. Like he's done a lot of that recently.
It's good.
There's that mental health aspect where you yourself are addicted to pick. I mean, I read a thing the other day that was like, if the first thing you do when you wake up is have a smoke or have a drink, you're addicted. If the first thing you wake up is when you wake up is you pick up your phone, surely that means you're addicted.
Yeah.
And now, since reading that, I've tried to make a much more conscious effort of like, I'm trying to kind of, I turn my phone on completely airplane mode and night mode when I sleep, and I wake up and I will try and let the dog out for a piss and a shit, and I'll feed him and make a coffee, and then I'll check my phone.
Yeah,
It's
I need
not
to do that.
it's not much, but it's because I've had it where I wake up in the middle.
difficult though.
You wake up in the night and you check notifications, and you start. I've fucking had conversations with people in the, like as Americans and things.
Yeah, and also that fucks with your sleep then, because you got the light.
Yeah,
even if you got night mode
sleep.
on, it still fucks you up. Like,
But so to go back to the other aspect of the mental health thing is, I read a report that I sent to you the other day that they have now, they did a huge survey, and out of all of the social media platforms that affect people in the most negative way, Instagram ranks the highest, then followed by Snapchat, and then YouTube is at the bottom. And I think there are many reasons for this. There is the fact that Instagram is very quick to access, and it's very quick to consume. It's also very quick to perceive
it's like the quick cheap drug. It's not the real thing.
Yeah, totally. And it's I could very easy, and when I say easily, it takes a bit of time, but you get these people who put a huge amount of time into curating their image. The only stuff I post could be very glossy photos of, I don't know, my car and my laptop and the clothing we're designing, and it could all be very clean, and it could have a very clean aesthetic, and it could be very money, or I could be like, I'm a CEO of a business owner.
You're very, very important. You're better than me. Like when I'm swiping past.
Exactly.
But you still, even if you do think that, you're like, you click on their page, and then you look even more and more and more.
Yeah.
And then you follow them, and then you
see this build up, and you're like, I'm worthless compared to this person. Like, I mean, I'm what? I'm 29, and I have struggled as a filmmaker, and now a brand owner. And I say struggled, I mean, the brand is fairly successful within our community, but we're not making fucking millions.
Yeah.
And I can look at brand owners who make generic streetwear clothing or stuff like this, and they're younger than me, and they're driving Lamborghinis. And I can look at YouTubers who they play FIFA and they're driving Lamborghini.
Gosh.
Like, I can look at all this stuff.
Like that.
Yeah, and you can be like, oh my god, I'm fucking useless. Like, I am absolutely fucking useless. But you're only looking at one side of their world.
Yeah.
Like, that person's dad might have just died. Like that fucking guy from One Direction. His mum died 2 years ago, and his sister just died of a heart attack last week.
Yeah, it's not all.
Nothing will ever be. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And so that's where Instagram is a huge like draw, because I don't think anyone can go on Instagram and not deny that they have been subconsciously affected at all.
No, I don't think so.
And whereas I think YouTube being at the bottom of that scale is on the flip side, because people who are listening to this, we're 2 podcasts in, or whoever's going to listen to these 2 episodes is probably not going to be a huge amount of people. So Jason Paul's vlogs are, I honestly don't watch a huge amount of them, but from what I see, they are inherently very honest.
Yeah, I've watched not all of them, but like a fair amount of them.
Jason talking about training, injuries, clothing design, having a fucking baby with his girlfriend while traveling. Like, you see such a huge amount of his life that you feel a much more genuine connection. But
it's not really show offy, I wouldn't say either.
No, exactly.
That's what I mean.
And you can be show offy on YouTube, but it takes a lot more work, because you have to.
I know.
If you're showing a single photo or 15 seconds or 60 seconds, it's very easy to create that to look nice.
Yeah.
If you're showing a 17-minute vlog, it's much harder to make that look fucking amazing.
I don't know if Jason has done it at all, but I'm sure he's mentioned struggles. Like, he mentioned the Farang failed product thing, I swear, something like that. I can't remember the exact
They've put out some cool stuff. Like, they were like, oh, this collection like was totally did not go to plan.
Yeah, which is like very transparent, and it makes you. Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing. Transparency and honesty is what makes a real, genuine person like, I love you. Like, it's like it creates that real connection, because you know you're not being bullshitted. Yeah. No one likes a dishonest person.
No, not at all. And yeah, I guess Instagram is very dishonest, or not that. Maybe you just can't tell what's dishonest and what's not, because it's too short.
I think you can tell if it's honest, because people are quite obviously honest.
Yeah.
Like,
but
I mean,
also,
I went through a period.
Can you make your mind up that quickly when you're scrolling through Instagram and you only watch like maybe not even the whole 15? Like nowadays, if someone's got a 30-second Instagram video, I don't even watch the whole thing.
See, that's interesting because I think I do. I think for the most part, if I care about the person, yes, obviously some people I don't, but I try to only follow people I actually care about. And therefore, if
there's
if
particular
somebody,
people who I'd watch the whole thing.
if somebody
but
posts a
most
whole
of all-
training video, I'm going to watch the whole thing, I reckon.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's rare that I feel like I don't. But some people, yeah, they're like, oh, I don't know why you post 30-second Instagram videos. I only watch 5 seconds and I move on. I've seen Kai do that. Kai,
What?
in fact, you did some shit at the underground gym a few months ago.
Yeah,
And you did I think you did the running free to that little ledge and then jump up to the top.
yeah.
And Kai was like, and I was like, yeah, Keelan did that. He was like, no, he didn't. And I was like, yeah, he did. It's in his Instagram video. And he went like, oh, I only watched like the first 5 seconds or something. I was like, why the fuck would you do that? Like,
Yeah,
he's
that-
training in a gym that you train at. You want to see his physical progression. Like, why?
See, that's the difference. I'm like when I say I don't watch all of it, I'm saying it's not the people who like. For example, I don't know why, but I'm very drawn to people like Max and Benji's movement and stuff because I, for some reason, feel like they train in a very cool way. If their Instagram video comes out, I'll be watching
Max
the whole
is
thing.
Bale, by the way. I mean, I saw that years ago, but fucking hell.
I've seen it as well
Yeah.
a bit before that came out, but I didn't know whether I wanted to watch it or not. It's
Oh,
something that really scares me.
I think because I saw it very shortly after it came out, so I didn't mind watching it because I knew it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you,
but I
you
saw
know
it.
it's
Someone
fine.
showed me on a mobile phone. And I can't remember who it was, and it
Yeah.
actually wasn't you. It was someone else. It was where was it? I don't know. But like I remember watching it once, and then I didn't want to watch it the second time. But I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
else in the room to be like look at this.
It's the helplessness of that like flail position onto your back of your
Well,
head.
yeah, I've seen loads of people get knocked out, and their arms get stuck in a sort of weird.
kinda lock
sort of
out,
spasm,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I don't like there's that drunk woman in the background. I don't
She
think
goes,
you.
"Whoa."
Yeah, you don't hear it that well on the YouTube video, but the raw clip, she makes that horrible like,
Yeah.
like that, and you're like, oh fuck.
It's kind of like it's almost like she's witnessed someone die or something. It's,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, he
nasty.
simply could have done like it's
Yeah.
very very easy.
It's rough. It's rough.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like we've ranted and rambled and we haven't necessarily got
Yeah.
anywhere, but there's nowhere to get to.
No,
I think
don't think that because there isn't a. I think it's because there isn't a solution at the moment, really. Well, there is.
Well, I mean, what I would say to encourage is you cannot shy away from Instagram until Instagram dies and becomes the next MySpace.
Yeah.
But I mean, people said Facebook's gonna like. There's all these platforms that people think are gonna last for 5 years and then die out. Like
Yeah, but even
until the masses move,
Mm.
you can't. I mean, you've got to play the game to a degree. But what I would wholly encourage, and what you will see Motus doing a huge amount more over the, I mean, for as far as I would like to see in the forever, like moving forward,
Yeah.
is as well as putting out Instagram content, putting out content that is evergreen, which means that it lasts. I mean, not timeless, but it. I mean, yeah, that's.
I'd say it is.
It's you can enjoy watching that in a year's time. You can enjoy watching it in 5 years' time because it shows that that stuff.
I just want every video on the Motus projects from like I don't know when from now on is, but when the ball starts rolling and when all the content starts flowing through on Motus,
We've been
I want everything to be
backlogging.
very very hard worked. I want every video you can tell there's been a lot of effort put into it. Do you know what I mean?
And I mean, the thing is that I think is very aspirational, and I think is achievable. But
Yeah.
I mean, and we have these conversations in private, and
Mhm.
you're now hearing a conversation in public, so to speak. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Like, I'm totally
No.
down that if George wants to go and film a vlog, he's an extra at the moment training with Storm. If he
To
wants to make a
upload it,
vlog that's
yeah.
fairly raw and basic, then I want that content because people love George. I fucking love George.
Mm.
And I don't want that to be that might not be the most evergreen thing in the world. But if it builds George's personal brand because he's the best person ever, then that's fucking amazing. What I want is to be putting out more content that is long standing. It shows, because vlogs are great because they show character and they show personality,
Yeah.
but also the depth of them is less so than something like, I want to see Joe Scandra fucking considering the fact that he could die doing a descent. I don't want to see him dying. No one wants to
but
see that. I want to see
he
him.
deserves a documentary about.
I feel like we're
his
just.
whole thing.
By the way, anyone,
There you go, that's
any
another idea we could do.
no, it's not even another idea that we can do. It's
No,
another
okay.
idea that's in the fucking pipeline. But it's if anyone tries to jump on this, you heard it here first. That's I've had that written down for months. But that I want to see that stuff. I want to see that mental battle. I want to see
Yeah.
you, while injured, trying to work on lines that are not necessarily physically challenging for your ankles, but are mentally challenging because of the technicality or something.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the 5 seconds that line is on Instagram. I want to see the breakdown, because that is the nature. So I think yeah.
Yeah. I almost I think I said this before, and you been like, I don't want it to go back to how it was, but maybe just because you know how I'm like, I want parkour to go back to how it was on the internet, but obviously you can't. But what I mean by that is when I was younger, I felt like I had a much bigger connection to parkour.
Well, so actually, I was thinking about this the
I
other
felt
day.
like it was a lot bigger.
There was also this level of, there was a lot of work going into videos like Chaps on Tour, Life is Fun and things, which were almost the same as Instagram, in the sense that they painted your life in a very perfect picture.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, when I would edit Life is Fun and I would basically compile a year's worth of amazing memories into 12 minutes, and there was loads of shit and loads of sitting at home doing nothing, but you make it look like your entire year has been traveling the world. People are like, oh,
Yeah.
how are these guys doing that? And obviously you haven't done that for an entire year, but so I think that's almost just as bad.
Yeah.
But it's not even like I want that. I don't want the like, oh, let's go back to the Chaps on, like, oh, I miss storing the Chaps on Tour days. Like,
yeah, it's not that, and it's the fact that like I was going from video to video to like maybe from a tutorial to like a tour, yes, that someone might have done, or to like just a day's training or someone's clips that they've saved up, and it's just, there was sort of content flowing from everywhere. Whereas nowadays, I literally can't find anything new. I mean, the world is not the internet, but it kind of is nowadays. But if I want to sit down,
pause this. I'm gonna have to chop it out. I need to piss so bad.
Fair enough. I could just sit here and make a sick beat.
Anyway, I don't know whether that will be cut. If it has been cut, then you just missed out on some toilet talk.
I don't know where we were.
Rewind. We were talking about YouTube, how Keelan was fantasizing about the days of your. I don't know how we fix this, whether or not we do. The thing is, right, you have to adapt to change. Everything in life and everything about this sport is about progression. And this is another form of things progressing. But I also think that we are now big enough as a community and as a sport that we shouldn't necessarily fall into the pitfalls of all internet trends, because internet trends move very fast. And like,
well, I want to show through our videos, and like specifically Motus, I want to show that parkour isn't something just for social media. Do you know what I mean?
And because it isn't, because it's quite real, isn't it? Like,
yeah. But like, you can, I feel like obviously loads of people just train for clips.
Actually, I just had a thought. You know, the other little pet fucking thing I hate.
Yeah.
And I think this was maybe predominantly born from roof culture when Max did that big roof. No, not even the little roof jump that then went horrifically viral in Hong Kong. Is you did something over some form of risk, i.e. a drop, and once you've done it, I'm going to pan the camera down to show the drop and probably make a ew noise. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's you did a side flip, you did a standing pre, you did a running pre, you did something over a gap that is worth panning the camera down, and it's fucking the copy and paste the same shot. It follows the athlete
like that, and then
it pans down. Like, either film the shot so that you can see the drop, or I don't know. Do you think nowadays in parkour it's pushed away loads of filmmakers, and like filmmakers in the sport, like yourself obviously you used to film loads, and I think my filmmaking sort of movements have changed simply because of the brand, and this I've got more going on my plate. I think there's still some sick filmmakers out there who are doing like creative shit. I think a lot of their focus is aimed on your crazy 60-second Instagram edits and things.
Yeah.
I think there's less incentive to be putting out big boy bangers on YouTube.
But like Jesse's thing that is
Fuck, I feel like we should have spoken about this more. I mean, that film is
it is very well filmed.
it's well
it
edited.
just shows. This is what I'm saying. It was really hard to portray it. I'm saying like you can see through that movie, like, you know, that session, I can't remember what session it was, but they were just training and it wasn't overly edited and the music wasn't overly dramatic.
Oh, it's
but
Portland with Joey.
Think so. Yeah, doing the doubles.
Yeah.
Like all of that, I can see that happening without the cameras being there. That's what I'm trying to say. I want
Yeah.
parkour to be proven that, like, I don't know. That's the same with.
Like
I know you'd said like you upload stuff of George vlogging and things, and of course you have to do that. But vlogging kind of shows that it's like, I don't do this unless I'm holding this camera in front of my face.
Yeah.
Whereas
yeah.
the sort of
Well,
skate culture that I like is not even Thrasher, but there's like loads of other companies, and you just see skaters just skating, and like there has bits of.
But you know
interviews,
what's
but
interesting about that dynamic?
it's
actually?
just like cutting them out of their life,
Well,
and they actually skate. Without.
What's interesting about both a lot of skate content and also that Jesse film is that the person filming that was not also focusing on doing movement, which I think actually creates better content.
Oh, you mean as in the guy filming doesn't?
Because if I'm filming, or if George, who shot the Jesse thing, the Bow Wow movement film, is filming, or a Thrasher skate like guys is filming, it allows the skateboarders to do what they do, and they can have fun, and they can bond, and they can try and repeat. And it doesn't involve Keelan going, oh, I'm going to do 3 more attempts, then I'm going to grab the camera and film for 20 minutes, and then I'm cold. And I think, and also it doesn't involve Keelan going, oh, I'm going to film myself talking about this. Like, there is an invisible entity behind the camera who is capturing the vibes without the vibes being interrupted.
Yeah.
And I think potentially that creates better.
I way prefer it, but it's so much more rare.
I think it's rare nowadays. I don't think it used to be.
Yeah.
Like, that was my role, essentially.
It never used to be,
years.
but that's why I liked Flow and things, because it was very
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But also, you know,
I mean,
that
it's
just
more
means nowadays we've got to put in
Well, it requires a
lot
level of
more work.
sacrifice from whoever is behind the camera.
Yeah.
And it was something that I think I was quite happy with, because also because I was never like, oh, I'm an athlete. I was always like, I'm a cameraman. So I was always just happy.
But did you ever think, like, just filming, like, oh, I really want to train right now? Like, if you were if you're in a place that you'd never been before.
I've been places around the world where I've trained for maybe 20 minutes and done one mediocre thing and been like, oh, maybe never come back here again in my life.
Yeah.
There's
Like,
also
when you
been
went-
times where like people have been having genuine, amazing fun in front of me, and I've been filming it, and I haven't really felt like I was allowed to like
Join in
laugh.
and laugh, yeah.
You can laugh and giggle a little bit, but you don't want to be like, ha ha ha, oh, I'm laughing so hard I have to put the camera down.
Yeah.
And I mean, Damien Walters, some of the early Walters and Sheaf shows where this is the flow content where like the guys are playing like football, tennis in the gym, and you can hear me and Jamie like shitting ourselves laughing in the background. And I remember after that first edit, I think Tim was like, you guys need to stop laughing, because it's like, because we were shooting on DSLRs, so the audio on them's a bit messed up. He was like, it's kind of distracting. And as much as I like kind of, it was like, oh, well, I was just trying to I was just having fun because I was in the room while all this funny shit's going on. You're like, well, it's fair enough, because it is the dynamics. It throws the dynamic off. We're about to hit our 1 hour limit of what this podcast was meant to be, and we're now talking about this for some reason. But how do we round this up? I think we said this 10 minutes ago. I just encourage people to really consider, just because you might put something on YouTube, whether you are a team of 5 guys and you might have already 1,000 subscribers. I mean, Fifth Unit, who are incredibly talented UK athletes, really sick guys. I think they just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I feel like a few years ago, if they were putting in the work that they have been putting in, they probably would have hit that much quicker, because YouTube was the sole thing.
And it also just was, I think, a lot more respectable, that content back then.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure all of those guys probably have sort of many more followers on Instagram than they do on YouTube. But I think people need to be thinking about the longevity, and also I guess longevity is the word. It's a really hard one to sum up. I wish I was kind of
but the more people that do it, I feel like the more it will grow.
Yeah.
Because Fifth Unit are like the only people doing that constantly. nowadays.
Yeah.
So there's
They've got a
nothing
really
for them.
nice dynamic going on.
Yeah. So there's nothing for it to like. I know you got to be unique, but there's nothing else that the audience can bounce off of. It's like that's their sort of fix of that style of content. There's nothing else like it right now.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily like, whoa, look at this.
But the funny thing,
But when
like,
there's
so I
loads
mean,
of
if there was some group of Americans who I'd never even heard of, and every single week or every single couple of weeks, they were putting out content that was them overcoming some fucking gnarly mental barriers, because there's some sick guys out there who I have no idea what their names are and things like that. And if they were putting out YouTube content that was just it doesn't even have to be that well filmed, it doesn't even have to be that well edited, but it showed
story, right? It's basically all about stories.
It showed, but I mean, story sounds over dramatic. Like, it just shows them, and it just shows what they're doing. I would watch it 100% if it came onto my radar and it was like some random guy from the middle of America doing full in back out, and he's trying to stomp this thing, and it's going to take him 15 attempts before he stomps it because he wants to be the next Max Antor or whatever. Like, I would 100% watch it. And all these people are like, how do I get more attention? It's like, be fucking genuine, be you, and show your story.
Yeah.
Like, stop trying to put singular clips on Instagram in this world where everything is moving at 1,000,000 miles a minute. Like, I think that's...
I agree. And all we can say is that we're going to try as hard as we can with Motus to, you know...
Yeah, we got some... I think the hard thing is you got to play the game. You have to put stuff on Instagram. Like, and Motus isn't this weird thing.
It's not saying that it's, like, not going to... There will still be the iPhone clips that go up.
You know, the funny thing, the sort of other side of this argument is, like, a lot of the times when I'm resharing stuff on the Motus Instagram, and it will be something that you've already put on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, here's Keelan wearing this hoodie or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm wishing that I had, like, organic content. Like,
Organic?
Well, like, this was the first clip of you doing this thing.
Yeah.
I'm wishing that I had it first.
Yeah.
Because it's more impactful when it's first.
It is.
So this is the hard balance.
Yeah.
It's trying to get both sides of this fucking story. But yeah, I mean, there you go. There's an hour of us spitballing. Hopefully,
I hope people have the same like, I know there's a lot of people who are thinking in the same way as me, because I've had conversations like this with many different people.
And to anyone who feels personally offended by this, I do apologise, unless you have caused someone to think, wow, parkour's lame because of your exact content, and therefore fuck you.
Yeah.
I'll stand by that. So, yeah, I mean, the podcast is now officially live on iTunes, so we'll get I think I'll probably... Oh,
nice.
Sorry. Just dropped a grip trainer. I think I'll publicise this one, as in I'll put this online.
Yeah.
And then I'll push them out. And feel free, anyone, new name unless you like the name, new artwork unless you like the artwork. If not, jingles definitely would be appreciated.
That'd be really good.
Little intro and outro jingle.
So can people just comment on this? Is that what they can do or not?
I don't really know.
I don't know how this works, because
I
otherwise
think you can comment. Yeah, I think you have to leave a review on iTunes. So if you can do that and be like, these guys are fucking... I want people writing reviews on this one, episode 2. I want Da Bomb, which is DA and then bomb. These guys at Da Bomb, and leave a review.
And how do people get in contact with us if there is no comments on what they want us to talk about?
Probably just Instagram.
Oh, really? So you can't just leave a comment at the bottom?
Yeah, I mean, maybe in the reviews, probably, but I don't think you can just comment. Because it's not YouTube. This is.
I'm so new to this. I don't know.
Keelan's. He's very new. But hit us up on Instagram. Once this thing is now live, i.e. potentially even next week, we're going to start doing Facebook Live videos for maybe like 15 minutes at the end, just to kind of, chat, come up with some questions and things. But yeah, so I mean, if you need homework for this, I'll set you some homework, listeners. You got 1 week. Fuck Instagram. Make better content. Leave a review. 5-star rating, and train safe.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Good night.
Good night.
Jesus Christ.